Hi everyone, it's Sunday, January 24th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. This week was a little quieter than the previous one, pretty much everywhere, with fewer price increases across the globe, except for one spot. The U.S. market was one of the quieter ones, with few changes and, from what it appears, fewer sales this week. In fact, when we talked about sales with most people, they were commenting on how good sales were last week. That said, whenever some parts of the market get a little softer, the rumors about secret sales below market rates fire up, and the current atmosphere is no different. Of course, the problematic shipping situation will also be with us for some time. With regard to heavy Texas steers, sales were scant, prices were unchanged, so seasonal weights were selling at $28 to $30. Looking at the cow market, that is currently a bright spot, with prices no worse than steady and demand still very strong for mainly upholstery uses. Turning to slaughter, for the week through Saturday, January 23rd, the total was 657,000, which is just 6,000 hides higher than last week. The export report for the week totals 565,900, which is better than it has been for sales, although the largest increase was in wet blue, not raw hides. Shipments for the week were 530,200, and that's a more positive number than lately, but not nearly enough yet. Europe saw some price increases again this week, although European editor Andrea Guolo says that this is driven by the lack of slaughter more than any great increase in demand. On the other hand, in the UK, he says that demand is huge and sellers are pushing for more and higher prices, but we'll have to wait and see if they get it. The price of the 36 plus ox is at £1 10 cents in sterling, steady with last week. And Ireland was also steady, with that origin going for €1 to €1.05 per kilo. So after last week's bigger increases, the prices of European bulls were pretty much confirmed this week. The large-sized southern German bulls are unchanged at €1.50 per kilo, but demand remains very strong. Turning to the cow market, some origins added a little to last week's increases, which were substantial in some cases. Some of the selections are also being affected by limited availability. Taking a quick look at veal skins, the asking prices have definitely increased, and sellers right now have a take it or leave it mentality, and their position is really supported by the lack of skins, so prices look to be quite firm in this sector. In his analysis this week, Andrea looks at the tensions between tanneries and slaughterhouses, and he lays out the forecast for what's going to happen in the month of February. Turning to South America, editor Ronald Guiel says that, yet again, prices are higher in Brazil, and that's the case for both raw material and for wet blue. All of this is being driven by the lack of hides, and he says there's no relief in sight, at least for the short term, with slaughter very low. Raw materials this week were up another 10 cents in reals to close at $1.68. And consequently, again, TR1 edged higher to $1.03 per square foot. In other news from Brazil, the 2021 forecast for footwear was released, and the optimistic end of the outlook expects an increase of 22% in shoe production and almost 25% in exports. This week, we'll also see the launch of the latest digital edition of Inspira Mais, and the CICB has launched a limited video series on leather that you'll want to have a look at. From elsewhere in Latin America, Argentina has seen some price increases in its hide selections. Mexico saw leather sector employment down by 15% in November, and Uruguay's fashion exports, including footwear, were up by double digits in December. So that's the report we have for this past week, and until next week, good night from HideNet.